Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who lost 100 pounds and have been living a life in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 75 pounds, and I'm continuing my weight loss journey.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes, and this week we are going to talk about when to switch weight loss plans or when to change a habit or that we're trying to establish that may not be working or we think is not working.
And I love that you added think is not working because we so often will get into whatever choice we are making to lose our weight and we'll be like 2 weeks in, it's not working. I haven't lost all my weight. And it's like, well, how do we determine the time frame that we're allowing something to work or not work?
Yes. I think again, if you listen to a podcast that we talk about expectations, that's kind of where this enters the page again, because you really want to look at what our expectations are. Are they realistic? Are they long lasting? Are they lifestyle expectations or are they extreme expectations? And it made me think of I think I didn't watch it, but I saw people talking about it online that they did a documentary on The Biggest Loser contestants like now and behind the scenes and stuff like that.
Oh,
And as
yeah.
a society, we get so much fake news of what weight loss should look like, right? Like if
Mhm.
you do this, this, and this, you're going to lose 5 pounds in 3 days, or whatever extreme they're saying. And that might be true. Maybe if you do fast for 3 days, you'll lose 5 pounds or whatever they're telling you to do. But it always goes back to, is that a lifestyle you want to uphold? Is it a quick fix or is it a long-term solution for yourself that you can live and do for the rest of your life? So it comes down to expectations and the time frame. Like Debbie said, 2 weeks is not enough time to invest in a habit or a lifestyle that you might want and assess if that works for you. And it certainly isn't enough time for your body to adjust and show you results to let you know if that's working. So, setting expectations, looking at them, and are they realistic? And also the time of what you invest when you, so say you're like, okay, I'm going to invest 2 months in this new plan, whatever plan you're choosing to follow. When that 2 months comes, let's say you haven't lost any weight and you're like, well, that plan didn't work. Okay, well, did the plan not work? Or did you not follow the plan 90% of the time? So if you're doing a plan and you're 50-50ing it, then no, that's not a fair assessment of that plan. You have
Mhm.
to be honest about how much you're actually following the plan that you're choosing to use for yourself. And I think that comes into a really great tool that you can use, which is a habit tracker. They have apps for it. If you're digital, you can print one out from online. They're all over the internet. But and you can even make one up for yourself on paper. But say there's a habit that you're trying to establish, and we'll just go with drinking water because we always talk about drinking water. Then for the month, track every day that you hit your goal, whatever your goal might be. At the end of the month, you're going to be able to look at it, or the app will tell you what percentage of time you hit the water. If you only hit your water 50% of the time, then it wouldn't be fair to say at the end of the month, water's not helping. Right?
Right.
You really need to shoot for or want to shoot for at least 80 to 90% of the time to because we don't want to say 100 because that's not realistic. But if you have an 80 to 90% average of doing something for a couple of months and you're not seeing results, then maybe look at that and assess, do I want to try this another month or not? But without that information, it's very hard to be honest whether a plan is working or if you are not working the plan, right?
Right. And I think that and that is such a good thing to be aware of because, I mean, on this since April, I would say I've put on 15 pounds. And, I get on these Zoom calls and I look at me in here and I'm like, you know what? I don't really like the 15 pounds isn't bothering me so much. I mean, would I like to be lower to fit into some pants? Absolutely. But I also know that I have been working so hard on losing that 15 pounds. But if I were to be honest, and if I had a habit tracker on the refrigerator, or if I were keeping track of it in a journal, I have been the way that I lost my weight was listening to my body, eating when I was hungry, stopping when I had enough. Um, but I'm not doing that. Yeah, I might be waiting till I'm hungry, but I am definitely not stopping at enough. And so I can't say it's not working for me, but I also know that my thoughts have really got into holding on tight to I can eat whatever I want. So, though I lost my weight using that concept of listening to my body, I think for this time in my life, um, it might be okay to consider a different way to look at my health and where I want to see my goals. And so I think that's another thing too. Like if you're working a plan and it's not working for you, exactly what April is saying, you're not doing the work. Like if we went to school and we got 50s, like if we were doing work 50% of the time, I wouldn't have graduated from high school. Um, I wouldn't have. I had to have grades that showed I was doing the work to get me to graduate. And we need to do the work to get us to our goal, whatever that goal is. And and after we have worked on whatever plan that we're working on, we could have had huge success and our might have changed and that program isn't working anymore. So maybe being willing after you've really tried and examined, like maybe it's okay to move on to something different. What did I learn from this that's going to move me forward to this next thing? And what can I take from all of it to continue moving me forward? But you got to give it a fair shake. Like I'm not going to be on here and say, hey, guess what? I'm running a marathon and I'm going to run for 3 days this week and expect myself to run that marathon on Sunday, whatever day it is. It's not gonna happen. It might, but I would be crying crossing the finish line and 911 might need to be called, right? So like we need to be realistic in our expectations and really examine what we are doing for the work. Like don't hustle ourselves, don't lie to ourselves, don't say we're doing the work and it's not working. We have to be honest with ourselves. Are we doing the work? And if not, is it because we don't want to do the work? I don't think so. I think it's maybe what we're trying to do isn't working for us. Sorry, that was a long rant, but I do think
No,
it's
I think
so
that's great, and
important.
it is so important, and I think that was a great point that you said too about if it's not working for us or if we're not doing it, is it something that aligns with what feels good to us, right? So that's something else to listen to for yourself. If you're trying to count calories and you're not tracking, you're not entering it into your app, well, is it because you don't want to do the action of it, or is it because you don't enjoy tracking calories? Or really ask yourself, why am I not doing this for myself? If this is something I think I want, then why am I not choosing to do it? There's a reason. And we have to figure out what that reason is, right? So I think just like going to bed early, that's something that really helps me. And we have really been doing much better with establishing that habit. But I had to really ask myself, like, why am I not going to bed early? Well, my big reason was I wanted more time with Kevin at night. When I really thought about it, it seemed, I don't know what the word is. It was a false reality, if that makes sense. Because if we go to bed at 8:30 or if we go to bed at 9:30, that's an hour, right? What am I getting in that hour that I wouldn't get if I got up earlier and saw him in the morning because I got up on time, right?
Yeah.
There's still the same amount of time, but I was telling myself I deserved to stay up later, but I really deserved to put myself to bed and get rest so I could get up in the morning and feel good and get my walk in that makes me feel even better for the day and see Kevin before he goes to work and all of these things that line up. So really ask yourself, like, why am I not doing this? Why am I not tracking? Or why am I not meal planning? Or why am I not food prepping? Or whatever you want to establish. And then it's okay to say, you know what? That's not a habit I want to have.
Mm,
Not everybody has to have the same habits. We talk about this all the time too, whether it's counting calories, everybody knows the options out there, right?
yeah.
Whatever you choose to do to lose weight, fasting, counting calories, keto, whatever it is. But if you've chosen a plan and you're not showing up for the plan and you feel bad about it, table the feeling bad that you didn't do something and really sit and have a conversation with yourself and ask yourself, why have I not done it? There's a reason that you're avoiding it. Maybe it's because you think you can't have things you want to have. You made a comment, Debbie, about how you lost your weight. You really embrace that I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
And that kind of now has led to a different situation. But if you're trying to do a plan and you're feeling restricted, it makes sense that you would not want to sign up for that every day. None of us want to be told, I can't have or do something. But if you turn that perspective around, any avenue of life, you are restricting yourself. If we change the thought of restriction from a negative to a positive, right? So I want to stay in bed all day, let's just say, right? So I don't do that because I restrict myself from staying in bed all day because what do I want more? I want to get to my job to get my money to pay my bills and go on vacation. Right?
Yeah.
I want to get up and go for a walk because I feel better. My mood is more stabilized. I have more energy. I usually stay on my plan more effectively when I've walked. So I want that too. It's a choice. Again, I'm always back to the choices. These are choices. These are not restrictions. I can choose to stay in bed longer and then I miss out on the other things that I want as well. So there's two things that you probably want and you have to ask yourself, which one do I want more?
Yes. And, the whole time that you were speaking about restriction, I kept thinking to myself, April's word choice, choice, choice. And it is true. We are not restricting, we are making a choice. And when we say restrict, I mean, I'd love to see a comments in this. Like, if you hear the word restriction, does it have any positive connotations for you? Because for some people, it might. Some people might love the word restriction and all that it brings, but for a majority of the people, restriction is negative. And there are negative things in our lives. There are going to be negative things in our lives forever. And we have to embrace that, right? But when we can soften it a little to move us forward, that's not irresponsible. It's not living in a dream world, it's living in a reality. I can choose to say I am restricting myself from I haven't been restricting myself from anything lately. So I like I get to choose what I want, whether it's food, whether it's an action, whether it's an interaction with a person at work, like we get to choose. And if I am choosing not to do something, it's not restricting. It's a choice that's going to move me forward to wherever I want to be, to the next minute.
Yeah, and I think too restriction it's innately negative, right? You're going to think that. But
Yeah.
again, it's you have the choice to repurpose the thought and
Mhm.
change it to a positive, which is what we're talking about here. And I think the first thing when you started talking that I thought about is restricting gluten because I don't eat gluten because of how it affects my body. So we're talking about food restrictions, right? So when I go out to a restaurant, which is not as often anymore because it's a lot safer for me to eat at home. But for a scenario, you go out to a restaurant, you can't have, or I choose, because I could still eat gluten and just feel like crap all the time. Like I could
Mhm.
do that. I'm not at the, I don't have a gluten situation where like I would end up in the hospital over anything, I won't go through all my ailments, but it would be a lot of ailments. And so when I go out to a restaurant and they bring the bread basket, I could sit there and I'd be like, this sucks. I'm restricted. I can't have the bread. It's not fair. Everybody else can have the bread. Like all these thoughts that we do tend to bring upon ourselves when we
Mhm.
are trying not to eat a certain food for whatever reason we choose. And I won't say that I didn't have those thoughts in the very beginning of finding out about my gluten issue, but I don't anymore. I am now just so thankful that I have found the answer to make my life better to live in because I don't have all the ailments that I had not eating it. So when that bread basket comes, I don't feel a pull to it anymore because I just know I am not going to feel good eating that. So I am choosing to restrict from eating the bread.
Mhm.
It is a choice, and if you can find a way to feel good in it, whatever plan you choose, you will feel good in that. But if you're not feeling good in the plan and you've given it a fair chance, going back to the topic of when do I switch? If you are not feeling good with the choices you're making with the plan you chose, that would be a time to reassess the plan
Mhm.
because you want to feel good. You want to feel healthy, energized, clear minded, happy, enjoying the food you're choosing to eat, um, those types of things. So if the plan you chose, you do not feel those things, then I would look at to a different plan. But I really think it's important when we make these choices, whatever it is that we're hearing somebody lost weight doing, and oh, I'm going to try that.
Because there's plenty of ads that show them all. Yeah.
Yes. Commit to yourself and to the plan for at least 2 months. Keep track of how much you're doing the plan so you know a fair assessment of the plan before saying the plan doesn't work for me. I think that's such an important thing. And it's very easy to say, I'm doing it all the time. But if we keep track of it on paper or digital, however you want to do it, it's a much more accurate picture and a much more fair assessment of whatever plan you've chosen.
Yeah, and we need to have that fair we have to look at ourselves honestly, and that is not always easy to do. It's easier to say that the plan isn't working than I'm not doing the work. Because we all want to think we're doing the work at whatever it is, our job, our goals, everything. But being willing to really sit down, keep track, and look at it with honesty is going to move us further. Honesty with ourselves is going to move ourselves forward more than any plan that we do. Like you could pick a plan and do it 75% of the time and have success, and you can do a plan and not do it 50% and have a time that's not successful. But if you look at that 50 and that 25%, you're going to see why. And it's just be ready to be open. It's not easy, but it's worth it, I think.
Yeah, I definitely worth it. And I think too, you mentioned earlier that look at the end of the month or the end of 2 months when you have your information of how often you've done this, that, and the other, and how you have felt doing it, and if you've enjoyed doing it and felt good about what you were eating. Look at what worked for you. Look at what felt good, and look at what didn't. One plan does not fit all. So take from that plan what worked. If you see the other steps in the plan that you haven't given the effort to and you want to try it, then do that. But if you tried them all and you're like, that one doesn't particularly feel good to me, then take another version from a different plan. You can take and make an amalgam of what works for you in particular. Because keep in mind, it is not a one size fits all. And
Mm-mm.
it's okay to say, I like this from this plan and I like this from this plan. And if it all comes together and works for you and gives you a lifestyle that you feel good in and confident and healthy, then that's what you create for yourself.
Yeah, it's your own individual plan that you can name whatever you want
Mhm.
and adjust it as you need to, as you
Yep.
go. Just
Yeah,
it's an important journey, and like April says, not one size fits all. Take a little bit from everything to make the best plan for you.
absolutely.
Oh,
And we're going to ask you again if you have any questions about this podcast in particular, or one in the future that you'd like to hear, or something from one of the past ones. You can always email us at April and Debbie dish the truth at gmail.com. And we have a Facebook page as well. So the podcast always released some Mondays. And on Tuesday, I will post the steps about this topic that can help you assess and remind you of like guidance to how to choose when it might be time to look at the plan you're doing, change it, or just make tweaks for yourself. So that will be on the Facebook page on Tuesday.
And I love that you found this because when I was reading it, like there are things that I would like to look at and adjust in mind. So I think this is a really great
Mhm.
step by step on how to do that. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're
And
welcome.
share with your friends, your family, comment, like, love, whatever you want to do to us. We so whatever, no, sharing and all that stuff. Thank you so much for supporting us. We really truly appreciate you. So, from my heart to your journey, keep blooming.
Yes. And as always, remember to wake up willing to do something that feels good to you.
Have a great day.
Bye.